So have you ever noticed that the things that you want most in life often come with the most discomfort? So whether that's the relationship that you long for or the business that you feel called to build, whatever version of you that keeps sort of quietly nudging at you and asking to be expressed. So we talk a lot. There's a lot of talk about purpose these days. And when you hear about purpose, some of these words come up like alignment or being in flow, ease, living your best life. And while I believe all those things exist, I think we've also been sold something that isn't fully true. Let me tell you what I mean. We've been sold the idea of purpose being easy and comfortable and flowy. We've been sold the idea that when things are easy and comfortable, that means we are living our purpose. That when you found your calling, it should feel blissful and effortless and like you've finally arrived. But what if that's not actually how purpose works? What if purpose doesn't always feel comfortable? What if purpose often feels like tension, right? What if the very thing calling you forward is also the thing that's stretching you, challenging you, asking you to become more than who you've been, more than who you were yesterday? So today, I was in a women's circle and a phrase landed for me that I can't stop thinking about. And that phrase was purposeful tension. Purposeful tension. So when I look at my own life and I look at the lives of people that I've served, I see something consistent. Our purpose often lives, I would say, at the intersection of two things: what we're longing for and what we're healing from. And both of those places carry emotion, right? If we think about what we're longing for, if we think about what we're healing from, there's emotion there, there's friction there, there's uncertainty there, there's tension there. Yet most of us were taught something quite different. That tension, that friction, that means stop, right? Make a U-turn. We're headed in the wrong direction. That discomfort means something's wrong. So when it shows up, we try to fix it. We try to figure it out or to push through it. Now, I've also been reflecting on something else. We are living in a time, I would say, when life is in many ways easier than it has ever been in human history, right? A few hundred years ago, we had to rely on our purpose. We had to rely on our gifts to just make it through the day and be safe. And because of that, we've slowly become less comfortable because life is easier now than it was hundreds of years ago. We've become less comfortable with being uncomfortable. So we analyze that tension, we resist it, we try to escape it. And I would say even a lot of personal development reinforces this idea that something in us needs to be fixed. And over time, we can start to feel like something's wrong with us, which makes it almost impossible to feel safe inside ourselves. But what if that's the real invitation? What if we don't start by fixing anything? What if we start by actually welcoming that tension? What if we start by learning how to feel safe inside ourselves with that tension? Safe enough to feel, safe enough to allow, safe enough to let emotions move through us without judging that tension. Because the emotions are not the problem. Tension is not the problem. The only thing that truly stops the flow of our purpose, our light, and our gifts is the judgment of that tension of what you're longing for and what you're healing from. The moment we label what we feel is bad or wrong, we contract, we resist, we are actually blocking what is trying to move through, that purpose that's trying to move through. So when we can meet our experience differently, when we can feel it, when we can allow it, when we can stay with that tension, I believe something shifts. We actually start to feel safe inside ourselves, not because the discomfort disappears, but because we stop fighting that discomfort, we stop fighting that tension. And from that place, then a different question starts to become available. Instead of, how do I get rid of this? How do I stop this tension? How do I, move more into flow and ease? But we can ask, okay, what is this tension here to show me? This is something that comes up in my Akashic record readings again and again. People come in, they're looking for clarity around purpose. What emerges is a clear awareness of what they are longing for and what they are healing from. And right there at that intersection, something becomes visible that wasn't visible before. Again, not because the tension disappeared, but because they stopped judging it long enough to hear what that tension was pointing to. And this is why I keep coming back to this idea of purposeful tension. Because maybe purpose isn't found in the absence of tension. Maybe it's not found in the ease and the flow. Maybe purpose is revealed through it. So, what is your purposeful tension that you're feeling right now?